In this video we will show you how you can establish an invoicing structure. Therefore, we will run through some of the standard rules that can be created. In this example, we will create a non-refundable invoicing rule to charge all permit application fees with 10% bank charges, only when paid by a credit or debit card. Let's start by creating this rule. Click on the Add New button. Any new rule is active by default. This means, when it is saved, it will apply when the conditions are met. We will start by naming this invoice rule, for example, non-refundable bank charges. Since the bank charge in this example is not refundable, we will keep the box refundable unchecked. Here, we want to mention that to avoid mistakes the system will automatically refrain the CAA from crediting any non-refundable charges or fees. The description of this item will show up on the invoice. In this case, we want it to be bank charges. We will specify whether the invoice rule should apply as a percentage or a fixed amount. And then enter its value. In this case it will be 10%. The rule we are setting now can be applied per invoice line, per line quantity, or once per invoice. We will select per invoice, because we want it to apply only once and for the whole invoice. And not per each individual line showing on the invoice or based on quantity of each invoice item. The system generates invoices for any payment done by the applicant, for example, when a permit application fee or navigation charges are paid. As well as pro forma invoices that allow the applicant to make a payment via bank or wire transfers. As mentioned at the beginning of this video. In this example, we want the system to apply bank charges to permit applications. Therefore we will select Invoice as invoice type. We will set the invoice class as General. The class General consists of permit and navigation invoices. We want this invoice rule to apply specifically to all permit applications that are paid by credit card only. Therefore, we will set equals to payment gateway. One thing to point out here, when you want the invoicing rule to apply to all payment source, excluding a particular one, you can set as not equal and select the payment source that should be exempted from this rule. We want this rule to apply to any flight type. Therefore we won't set any condition here. Finally, under item category, we will select permit, because we want this rule to apply to all invoices issued while submitting permit applications. Now that we have set the conditions of this rule, we will proceed and save it. We have the ability to define the sequence of invoicing rules when the more than one invoice rules share the same conditions. Therefore, we will filter the table based on all active rules that share the same set of conditions. The invoice type we have set while creating the rule is invoice. The payment source is payment gateway. The invoice class is general. We didn't include the flight type in the conditions, therefore we will skip. And lastly the item category which is permit. As you can see here, the rule, application processing fee, just like bank charges, applies to all permit applications that are paid by credit card. Now we will set the sequence of these two charges. Let's say we want the 10% bank charges to apply to the permit fee and the processing fee. In this case the bank charges should come after the processing fee. Therefore, the processing fee should be set as 1 and the bank charges as 2 as you can see here. However, if the 10% bank charges should apply to the permit fee only. This means the first rule that should apply to the permit fee is the 10% bank charges and then the processing fee. Therefore, we need to set bank charges as 1. And the processing fee is 2. To change the sequence, you can either click on the Move Up next to the bank charges or on Move Down button next to the application processing fee to set the bank charges as rule number 1. And the processing fee as rule number 2. You can deactivate any invoice rule by switching this button off. Also, the invoice rules can be copied and saved by making minor changes. Therefore you don't have to create the same rule over and over. As we saw in this video, all the billing happens through the invoicing rules. This feature gives you the ability and the flexibility to create set of rules based on different conditions. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you for watching.